All right, something just revved up for us. I heard over there, Simon. It sounded like a car outside
Oh,
gunning it.
you can hear the fans buzzing on my PC, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like that. Did you get it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right, everybody, we're back. Simon and I are back. This is now our fourth, I believe it's our fourth live stream. Yeah, GEO Day 4, we're calling it. Today, we're going to be talking all about offsite work, citation building. So before we get into it, Simon, how's everything on your end? How was the weekend?
Busy, very, very busy. My kids have gone back to university, so should be a little less manic now. Have you had a good week?
Okay. Yeah, nice weekend, and the week's off to a good start. I'm experimenting with a new workflow. I launched the GEO Show podcast, and I've got already four episodes recorded. I'm just waiting for Apple and Spotify to get it up and published.
Very cool.
I'm trying to actually get a whole workflow where I can record. I can take my recording and I can quickly distribute that out to YouTube, to Apple and Spotify via Transistor FM, and then also to publish that, repurpose it as a LinkedIn article and as a blog post on our GEO Forge blog.
Yeah, I saw one of the episodes. So that was good, and I've started the work on the Stitch project. So a lot of the content, I think you've probably started to see some of that coming out, which was obviously all built in GEO Forge. I've then added some video into that, which will be interesting to see whether that gets picked up. I did do a couple of my own tests in terms of searching on ChatGPT and Gemini to see whether the site was getting cited more and more quickly. It came up in a few of the follow-up questions, so more so when you ask an initial question, and I think you and I were talking about this after our last live. That was really interesting to talk through. We think that the funnel for when people ask a question and then ask subsequent questions, they're qualifying themselves as they go.
Yeah.
It's those subsequent questions and that funnel that could be really, really interesting.
Right. Yeah, anticipating beyond the first prompt.
Yeah.
And what might come next. I think the whole industry right now is, at least the tracking analytics part of this, it's all first prompt tracking, because it's in the mindset of keywords, where you type a keyword into Google and then you're going to be on your way clicking through one of the links. But there's a long tail of follow-up questions.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be in a world where we steer people down a path. A lot of the work I used to do on YouTube was around create a video, get somebody to watch it, or watch a good percentage of it. So you could obviously measure how far somebody watched through a video. So if you had a 5 to 10 minute video, if you were then following the people with a subsequent video to those that watched, say, 3/4 of the first one, that then really worked really well. So I'm thinking, if we go down the line and we get to the point where this eventually will, maybe it's if I ask this question, what's the follow-up that actually triggers the person to take an action? So not just first prompt, but it'll be interesting to see how that all develops. Like you say, I don't think anybody's going beyond the first prompt at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, just to refresh ourselves, we have our share of voice is still low. I checked; it was updated at the end of last week. Why don't I share my screen here and we can look at some stats from GEO Forge.
In reality, I think the only real, the actual work, i.e. publishing content, began at the end of last week. So
yeah,
probably wouldn't have expected it to move at all just yet.
Yeah. What we see is a perfectly flat line on share of voice. So we still have think it's the same prompts where we have the visibility. It was basically one out of those 30. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for us, but now everything is in place in terms of the foundation. We have the integration with Webflow, so we're publishing automatically straight to Webflow. I know we had a little bit of work to do to map those fields and get everything set up correctly there, but that's working.
Yeah, and I did go through the Stitch site and do what you would call a traditional SEO job. So, you know, plugging Claude is now my Claude project that's got all of the knowledge base that I've built over a few months for Stitch is now plugged straight into Webflow, and it has gone through and added schema, JSON, etc. to all of those existing, because they had a whole bunch of blogs on the site. I think there's about 90 blogs on that site, and
yeah,
you know, if you just looked at it, the majority of the blogs didn't have even sort of page titles, and I think the organization schema wasn't correct across the site, etc., etc. So there's quite a lot of work that got published actually only yesterday. So I did that work yesterday morning. There were a few warnings that it was worried about me updating the site because there were some templates that I had to check, and I didn't want to necessarily update to older versions of certain pieces. But obviously a lot of this content is clearly AI generated. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this content versus what we're publishing now, albeit, you know, a lot of this is older. I don't know that a lot of this is date stamped or time stamped. So one of the things that does sort of worry me that maybe I've just published 90 plus blogs all with a date as of today, if you know what I mean, because they've all been freshly edited. So I don't know whether that'll make any difference.
I don't know. I think it's a good idea to have a date stamp on the posts if you can add that, or even last updated, because that is a strong signal. I think citations tend to be more recent. I think there were some studies about this, that the majority of citations are up to 6 months old, but not older. So updating and refreshing content and publishing a last updated date is very important.
Well, I did some searching myself on ChatGPT this morning, so subsequent to that update yesterday, and I could already see links to several of these blog posts, including the ones that we just published. So it's picked those up without me having to submit them anywhere within 24 hours. So the freshness thing definitely 100% works.
Yeah. Where did you see that? You were saying?
So I searched ChatGPT. I copied and pasted a couple of the prompts, or, you know, a couple of the questions that we're trying to come up for. So we didn't come up, or Stitch didn't come up as the first referenced cited site. There were 4 or 5 different ones, the ones that we would expect, the ones that we're seeing in the competitor tracking. But then, having asked it, what about Stitch? It then said, oh, that's a great spot. I should have included that within my initial reply. And it then went on and listed, and then had links in that post to these blogs, which was quite encouraging.
Oh, so that's pretty much proving that they've already picked it up.
Yeah, 100%. Because there were actual links that were live, not, you know, it wasn't reading content and feeding it back into the reply. There were actual links live in those replies.
And these are links to some of these older posts, not just the one, the recent one from GEO Forge. Okay.
No, but you know, if people are watching this and then looking at, I'm going to try and standardize the imagery that comes through from this point onwards. So the one in the top left here, how UK GDPR and data residency, blah, 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 how that wording is in the image as well. And we talked around this. We do believe that having the words in the image makes a level of difference, because I know it does on YouTube. So there's no reason why it wouldn't do for what we're doing here. I went and built a video, which was built with Gemini Notepad, and embedded that at the top. So that's an additional piece on top of what GEO Forge did. And I think
that's a great idea.
Welcome
also to embed
to today's
the video.
explainer.
I won't play it, but yeah, I can see this is a Gemini Notebook video, huh?
Yeah, and then if you scroll right down to the bottom, I think it embedded as well the transcript of that video further down. So you've got the timestamps within the video as well, which may or may not help.
Welcome to today's explainer. I
know that does work on YouTube as well. So we've seen pieces like that get picked up in main Google. You know, doing all these things that we know work. We'll see whether they all feed through. It'd be that's the whole point of what we're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great that you're testing all these hypotheses. Let me come back. Let me get the screen share back up here. Yeah, embedding the YouTube video. One suggestion that I had, it's small, but on the main blog page, it would be nice if these titles were also hyperlinked into the article, because it's only the image is linked. Because then you can take advantage of all this anchor text for the link.
Yeah. So one other thing that Claude said we should also be doing is so if you were in that article itself, and I know GEO Forge doesn't necessarily do this at the moment. If we go into the article itself, we should, in theory, be linking from within parts of the article to other relevant blogs.
Yeah.
That you get me. So a bit like
it's cross-linking.
Yeah, cross-linking on site.
Yeah. We do have that feature. Right now, it's still a little bit manual, but let me show you quickly what it looks like. If we go back here, I'm going to go into Content Forge. Let's just collapse this here, and we'll look at the pipeline, and we'll go into one of the drafts here. Okay, maybe this one. Can WhatsApp send automated MOT and service reminders for UK car dealerships? Great. This is looks like a FAQ, FAQ page. So you see over here, we have internal links in this section on the right. So if you wanted to designate pillar pages, so the concept of a pillar page, I presume.
Yeah.
Generally a hub where you want to be receiving a lot of internal links, where you have a lot of topical authority. You can add those here, and let's say if I wanted to make, just for the sake of argument, let's link to the one that we just published about the UK GDPR data residency rules. So I'm going to grab that link. So that's why it's a little bit manual here, but it should be able to find the link. Let's see. No internal links. Okay. Let me try this again. Okay, if I click that refresh button, it's regenerating. I think it's going to try to generate some of its own recommended internal links. But let's see. This is a feature that I admittedly haven't tested too much, but it is okay. So there we have it. So we have now these 3 links, as you can see, how to set up automated something. I can click here and go to the article. So this is one of them. It's one of these older ones that I think it doesn't have an image, or it's not dated. But anyway, if we wanted to link to this page, we could leave that there. This is the one that I was wanting to link to. I'm sorry, I forgot to switch back over here. I'm back here.
It has generated relevant, content that's on topic. It's not gone off and found a random page. It's still, because this is talking about MOT and automotive, it's found an automotive sub page, if you want to call it that, which then helps us with relevancy.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly eyeball the third one. Okay, it looks okay to me. So if we wanted to accept these 3 internal link suggestions, we can just click here, apply to the article, and then it will insert them. It should be inserting them naturally with anchor text in various places in the article. So what this does for the audience listening, this is really as much for SEO as anything else. But when bots come and crawl, you want to facilitate their ability to crawl horizontally across the site structure. And when they find internal links and they follow those links, then they can crawl more of your content that way in a single crawl session. And if you architect this in a so-called hub and a spoke system, where the hub is the pillar page and the spokes are the satellite pages, then most of the internal links should be flowing into these hub pages. And when Googlebot and other bots follow consistently these many internal links into the hub, they will give more importance and relevance to that hub page. And typically that's the page that you want to help rank in Google, or that you want to associate your topical authority with. So I think probably a next step, Simon, would be to identify a few hub pages, and they don't necessarily need to be blog pages. They can be service pages as well. So we can have we have different solutions pages like the WhatsApp shared inbox. That can be one of the hubs. Anytime there's any mention of shared inbox or anything close to that in the content, we can link there. Agent assist, and then the WhatsApp AI assistance. The feature page is just one static page, so I don't know about that one, but the solutions pages and then the industry pages as well. So you've published, here's a great example, our latest blog post. Sorry, not the latest one, but the one that we're reviewing, just to jump back over here. It's about the car dealerships. So it's about the automotive industry. I would definitely want to create an internal link, and I'm going to do this now if you allow me to. I want to create an internal link to the industry page for automotive, which is this page. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to come back over here. Hopefully I'll search for it and find it. No. Okay. So this is something I need to put on the bug list, because I want to have an internal link to the automotive industry page, because this is all about UK car dealerships. So yeah. I think that that's what we need to make happen. But in the meantime, we can review. Here's one internal link. You can see here that it's created, and this is going to one of those blog posts. And if we scroll down, here's another one. And there should be 3 in total. I didn't see the third one, but it's in here somewhere, I think. But that's the theory of internal linking, and I think we can move on. I only see 2 of them, but it's something we need to look into. To be
until you approve it, it doesn't completely write the entire article anyway, does it? Because it removes the sources and.
Correct. Yeah. So what you see here was source 1 and source 9. These are only for in the draft view. When this gets published, those drop off.
But then, of course, well, we need to get to the piece where we want to talk about third-party citations, right?
Yeah. So let's move over to the citations. I'm gonna save this as is. Let's see. I believe
save it, because I've got to go and approve a whole bunch of them this afternoon as well. So I need another 4 or 5. I think I've got 1 more left for this week. Yeah,
we've got a few. We've got actually 10 in progress, 10 drafts in progress, and 2 that are ready for review. So this is a great looking pipeline. Before we move on to offsite, I think this is impressive. We've got 26 topics waiting to be reviewed. We have 10 drafts that are in progress, and then we have 2 that are teed up for a final review, which is this middle purple column here. So that's part of the game, Simon, as you know, is just publishing a lot of content, trying to answer all the questions from all of the different personas, basically.
And finding the gaps. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah, right. All right. So let's move down into the SiteForge area now. So offsite work is about, a lot of it is about trying to influence authoritative third-party websites to mention your brand so that AI bots will see that content. They'll see your brand mentioned all around the web, associated with other top brands. So oftentimes these are listicles, such as a top, let's say top WhatsApp CRM for small business, these types of places. So we have this feature is the top picks for the week. We only have one here, but it looks like it's from HubSpot, and I am a little bit suspicious that this is really going to be a place. Oh, okay. So this is what this is telling me is that if it's possible to get into HubSpot's marketplace, then this would be a very, very strong third-party signal. Although I don't know if it's possible. Here's maybe that's a competitor. Did you recognize that site, Tiora?
No, it's not one I know or have heard of before. So
Okay.
we learn as we go.
Yeah. So what we have this scoring system. You can see this left column has a score, and it's scoring the opportunities based on the domain authority or the domain rating, and also with an estimated success rate or ease of acquisition, so to speak. So we're generally trying to give the user, since there's so many opportunities, there's already over 2,000 citations that have been scraped from all of our prompts. We need a way to prioritize these and work on the ones that are going to move the needle. So we can go through these and we have different filters. So if I wanted to focus not on user-generated content, but on outreach, I can click on outreach. If I wanted to filter even more, I can go into the categories, and let's say, I'm assuming there are a lot of listicles out there that are listing different tools that are competitors to Stitch. And I can select listicles here. So now what we see are listicles, where we have 676 opportunities. But let's look at one example. I'm going to choose a random one here, Hash Studios. So when you come to this page, it's kind of an overview of the opportunity. We have the URL and the domain. The citation frequency means how many times it has appeared in our data set. 22 times is a lot. That's part of the reason why it has a high score. Excuse me. And we're basically going to, let's actually visit this page, and let's see what it's all about. Top 10 WhatsApp shared inbox platforms for customer support and sales teams in 2026. So this is a page that we probably want to get into. There's Wati, I know those guys. So this site, let's just see, Hash Studios Technology. I'm going to quickly see what they're all about as a brand.
Yeah, my only question then is, it's okay reaching out to them, and this is not, pushing back, but if they've already written that piece of content, how are we going to then encourage them to either edit it or publish something new, which then mentions Stitch? That's the challenge at that point, right?
Yeah, and it's a big challenge, actually. The success rate here is going to be, I think, in the single digits. So it will take a lot of outreach. But what we have, let's see, if I draft action here, when I click that button, it's going to write a personalized outreach message. And then I can go in. It looks like, okay, it already had done one of them, but I'll expand this one. Let's move into, let's see. I'm going to go into action. So this is now something that is scheduled as a draft. Okay. we're trying to fix this UI. It's a little bit convoluted, but we have an enrichment here. So it has found this email. We use hunter.io to do the email enrichment. So it found info@hashstudios.com. And this is the pitch, Simon. It's telling them it is kind of a tough pitch, but it's saying that we belong on the list and we have one edge case missing from your list. So it's saying, hi, you cover these different tools and you do a great job. We built something that is good and it belongs on the list. And this is saying best real estate teams angle. So let me make sure that there's some reference to
on the outreach piece. I take it there's somewhere in one of the agents I can tell it not to put M dashes in the, in that outreach email. I could have done that.
Yeah, you can do that. The M dashes are a clear signal for an AI generated message, huh?
Well, I don't know how much effect it'll have just by taking that out, but it feels a little bit more real to me if it didn't have that.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you want to adapt or adjust any of the prompts, we go into settings. And inside of settings, we're going to go into agent prompts here. And the agent, we have 45, as you can see, custom agents. The one that is responsible for writing these PR outreaches is called the pitch artist. It's this one here. So we have, this is the prompt here, the system prompt. And what we can say here, you can see that this is fully editable. So if you want to give it added instruction, non-negotiables, you can say remove all M dashes. That's not here, but so one thing that I've done a lot of so far, Simon, with these agent prompts is if I don't like the output, let's say if I don't like the output of an article or an FAQ page, or if I don't like the output of this email, coming from the template here, I will copy this whole set of instructions, drop it into Claude, and I'll say to Claude that I want to improve on this agent prompt. I'm getting results with M dashes. I'm getting results that are maybe too vague, or they're making mistakes in these ways. And I want you to improve the prompt, give me a better prompt. And then Claude gives me a better prompt, and I copy that prompt back in here and save it and as an override, as you can see here. And then I do another test. And I actually have been doing that with SiteForge for our GEO Forge brand. I've been doing multiple rounds of that, and I have seen an improvement in the output. And it's just a back and forth game of I get an email draft, I give it to Claude and say, I want this email improved in these ways. So help me modify the prompt so that the output is improved, and then copy paste back in. So it's a little bit of a manual effort with Claude at the beginning, but the process has worked fairly well for me so far.
I wonder if, and this might be something we can try. We might try it with Stitch, but I've not talked to you, I don't think, about my adding comedy into and personality into a lot of the outreach works a treat. So, for example, if you're I've got a client that promotes HR software, and it's probably one of the most boring, if they're listening, apologies, right? But it's one of the most boring and dry subjects that you can ever promote, because it's time tracking SaaS software, right? It's literally, can you tell, are your employees turning up? Are they sick? Are they, what are their holiday days, et cetera, all of that. And every single person in the marketplace uses pretty much the same advert, time and attendance tracking, et cetera, in their ads. And my business partner, Andy, and I were trying to see if we could write something that would be a little bit different. And we wrote an ad that said, Sarah's late for work again, right? So it spoke a little bit more to the fact that people are like, that's different. I've typed in HR software or time and attendance, and I've got Sarah's late for work again. Yeah. It more than trebled the number of people that clicked on the ad.
Oh yeah, I believe it. it's a pattern disruptor, because they're mentally conditioned to see the same types of headlines. And then there's, oh, Sarah's late for work again. It's clever.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
building that sort of stuff into what we're doing here is really interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I
Not
think that,
not that I don't think that ChatGPT will then say, "Who's Sarah and why is she late?" You know, like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
sort of whether we can weave some of that sort of stuff into what gets presented to people is another matter in AI.
yeah. And what your example was for an ad headline, but I think that would um, relate to the subject line of an email, of a cold email. So let's go back and look at one of these other ones. I'll just pull up, but this one was already sent. But you see the subject line here, I think the real estate gap in your API providers list. It's very descriptive. It's to the point, but it's not Sarah's late for work again.
No.
It's not, it doesn't have that wit. And so I think one thing that that you should expect from me in these these LinkedIn lives, Simon, is for me to give you some homework to do. But if I were to ask you to do some homework, it is to try to improve these prompts, because we actually designed the whole system to be very, very flexible. It's why all these agents can be completely changed to your liking. If the pitch artist here, it's under the settings, and then you go to agent prompts in here, and then you can go through these agents. A lot of them are doing very manual things, where you would never really need to change the prompt, but some of them are very important. So here are these are all the writer prompts, by the way. But if you scroll about maybe 2/3 of the way down, you'll find the pitch artist here. Yeah, this is the one.
I think as we move forward, you know, one of the huge dangers with AI is everyone just, you know, leaves it as is and doesn't do this piece of work that we're now talking about. You know, the lazy, you know, unfortunately, the world we're moving into, people expect AI to do the majority of the, you know, it'll do most of the heavy lifting, but it's not going to do what I would call human intelligence and differentiator at the top end of that. And that's where the real skill sits, I think.
Yeah. 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 We really want to, these emails in particular, we want to make them appear to be very genuine, well researched, personalized. I don't think we're trying to hide behind the fact that we are using AI agents, but we still want to be clever enough, entertaining enough, that ultimately with cold email, it's about getting somebody to be interested enough to take a click and be curious enough, or if even if you can make them have a slight chuckle, it's enough to win the click. And then you've got your pitch. And one thing that we did with GeoForge is we created a swap asset, and I'll take you there now. We have a page that is our own listicle, and it's this page right here: Beyond the Usual Suspects, Breakout GEO Platforms Worth Watching. So this is our own listicle. We intentionally did not put the big names on here, like Peak, Profound, Air Ops. We put second tier sites, and we're willing to make this much longer. And when I am writing an outreach now, I'll take you to, we'll move over to our profile to show an example. I'm going to go into, let's say, into the action screen, and I'll just pull up one of these random ones here. So here's an email to Jimmy. The system has enriched this automatically. So Jimmy is here, and then here's hi Jimmy. So it says your GEO tools piece cites Scrunch, Profound, and GEOI.ai across nearly every section. The same three names are carrying the whole list. And then it says we run a similar roundup at this site. So we're basically saying you've got your listicle and we've got our listicle. Let's do a swap. So if you include us in your list, then we're going to include you into our list. And I even said, I told the prompt to even as a sweetener to say, we'll make your link a do follow link for SEO value. I don't know if that is here or not.
It's a bit like the good old days of just link building, right?
It is like link building outreach in a way, but we need to have an asset that has exchange value. So if hopefully Jimmy is the right person and this gets delivered and he opens it, the subject line is, it's not great. Scrunch, profound, GEOI again. I think the subject line is kind of weak, actually.
Hardest part is to get it opened, right? Well, hardest
Yeah.
part to get it in someone's inbox in the first place. So
Yeah.
part of the system, as I understand it, we're trying to limit. We're not automating hundreds of these outreach messages. You have to curate them and edit them and send 2, 3, 4 a day, right?
Yeah. I think I have a limit of sending about 20 per day. You can control that here in the settings. If we go to back into the settings and now into SiteForge, we have, there's a lot of different settings here. I'm going to scroll past the first one. You can do scheduled outreach. If you want to auto send, you can click here and they'll send it automatically, but that's if you really, really trust the system. But right now we're building a review queue for human review and approval. And this is the number that we don't want to exceed. So we stop at 20 per day. Even 20 is kind of a lot, but it is a numbers game, and we have to send out a high volume to get a few responses. But I think that the moral here is that you don't need dozens and dozens of these citations. If you just get a handful of them over the next few months, I think it's still going to move the needle. If Stitch starts appearing in some of these lists, and these lists are getting regularly crawled by AI, and AI sees them in some lists where they didn't appear before, I think that's going to be very impactful on their.
So I do a lot of cold outreach for clients on email. It might be an idea. So you're right, 20 a day is probably a maximum, especially if it's you don't want to blacklist your domain. But what you could do, and this isn't something that's obviously built into your system at the moment, there's thousands of opportunities that we've found. Obviously, over a 30, 60, 90-day period, I'm not going to be able to hit, as far as I'm concerned, probably enough of them to get a big enough return quickly enough. So there is a question. So I run an Instantly account where I've got 20 different domain names, which I could, in theory, send 20 times 20. So I could send 400 a day at that rate if that was plugged into a scenario where you could export, because obviously GeoForge is producing all of the outreach ready. Right. The only caveat being that what we would need to also do is confirm that all of the email addresses that we are about to send to are genuine live inboxes, because we don't want a load of bounces. And there's other tools that we could do that with. So in theory, if you said to me, Simon, here's 1,000 outreach messages and they're all drafted, and here's all the email addresses that are with them, I can say, right, out of that 1,000, 470 are genuine email addresses. Let's not send the 630 that are going to bounce or go to generic inboxes, because I don't really want it going to an info at or sales at or whatever.
Yeah, those are usually not going to get to the right people.
But that scenario to plug into an external system that would then allow you to send the volume would be interesting as well.
That's a very interesting thought. So let's see if we can walk through this. If we go to the opportunities, I want to look at outreach opportunities. And initially, let's see how many we have. We already have almost 2,000 of them. And if this would be something that would be great for Claude to do with computer use, I would go to Claude and say, go into my GeoForge account, go into the SiteForge opportunities, and I want you to filter by outreach here, because these are all the ones that require email outreach. And basically just scrape all these sites. And this is a big, big job for Claude, but look at every one of these sites and try to determine, so it would go and visit each site one by one, and it would try to determine the viability of this as a target. I mean, our system should be doing this in theory, but this is another sanity check on it. But this, to me, this looks legit. It's another listicle, 10 best WhatsApp marketing software to send bulk messages. This is great. I mean, we need to be on this list. So if we have an author on this page, we do. We have this person. I don't know how to pronounce it. Chahat, I guess. Let's see if the system got this correct. If this is air meat, so we're going to look at. No, actually, if you look back here, this is not the Outreach.io found someone else named Sai, and their email is this email has already been sent, but let's go into action and we can see it in sent air ops. It's this one here actually. So this one has already been sent to Sai, and then this is her email. But basically, if you had Claude go through and just pull out all these opportunities and filter the ones, the listicles for outreach with a first name, with somebody's first name and a real email address, you already have all this done. You could basically just have it load this into your what was the tool that you mentioned?
Instantly.
Yeah. You could load this into an instantly campaign and tee it up for a bulk send across your 20 sending domains.
And the good thing is it's all unique as well, rather than having to put in some spin tax or levels.
Yeah.
One of the deliverability signals is whether even if you put spin tax in now, it's reasonably easily spotted by like Gmail or Outlook or any of the other receiving domains. And the problem is that a lot of people, when they send, I see it all the time, clients will say, oh, I've got a list of 40,000 customers and I want to send to all of them, and I'm sending to all of them and I get a 40% open rate, and I say you're not, because what's happening is it's all opened, but it's opened by Gmail and it's dumped into the promo tab or spam, and nobody's actually opening it and reading it. So the only number that actually matters is the number of replies and the number of people that clicked on it. But if you put a link in it, the other problem is that then probably dumps it into the spam or promo folder as well. So I don't know whether you've seen, but over the last 6 months, the number of emails that are coming into people's inboxes is hugely reduced. And I mean, I used to genuinely get probably 100 plus, maybe 150 emails every single day, because I've had that same email for that many years. And dramatically, that has dropped to probably 10 or 15 emails now in my actual inbox. The rest of it's there. It's just in spam or promo. But they are aggressively trying to stop deliverability of cold outreach for a start.
Yeah, especially for Gmail, for personal Gmail, it's they're cracking down really hard. I think it still can work with work emails, let's say through Google Workspace or for work emails in general. But it is getting a lot tougher.
It does make me wonder whether, in the good old days, and I'm talking back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you used to go and build huge numbers of links through spin tax articles and submitting them to third-party blog sites or forums, for example. And there were plenty of tools that went and just posted, hundreds and hundreds of articles and listicles and all sorts onto third-party sites. And I'm sure, I haven't researched it, but I'm sure there must be tools that are thinking about doing that for AI.
Yeah, probably so. It has to be.
Whether they influence, the AI at all anymore is a whole nother ball game, because obviously we've just seen what's happened with Reddit. Reddit used to be obviously one of the biggest cited sites, and the most trusted domain, etc., where AI was pulling tons of content, and I think it's gone off the cliff, right?
That's what the research is showing. Yeah, that it fell off of a cliff. Actually, that was the latest podcast episode that I did was mainly about that. I don't know what happened there. I think the whole industry is buzzing about it. And why did it happen? Was it intentional? Was it accidental? Is it going to come back? I was pretty happy to hear that news actually, because I think with Reddit, I've never really been able to break into Reddit much, and I generally haven't been focusing on the Reddit or other forums for any kind of citation building. It's too
No.
difficult.
And well, look, this is where we're going to see a lot of pushback against all the black hat techniques that are going on. Purely, maybe it was just a case that Reddit had been overrun with content that, you know, they couldn't then control. So they've switched the switch off and said, no, you're not, you know, and they're actively battling against people generating AI content. So I think it's great time for what you're doing in terms of making sure people are producing thought leadership content that is filling gaps. That's the only way forward by the looks of it.
Yeah, I believe so. All right, Simon, we're a bit over our normal time here, but I did want to plug one more strategy that I think is very important for off-site citation building for Stitch, and we've talked about this and chatted about it. It's G2 reviews. This is the category that Wati is in. Let's just go back to there. This is Wati, and if you remember, we used Wati's reviews to influence the way that we shaped our prompts, the initial 30 prompts that we're using for tracking AI visibility. They have now 502 reviews. Last time I checked, it was 500. Most of them pretty positive. But all of these reviews are also very, very strong off-site signals for AI crawlers. And I think that it's got to be part of the arsenal for Stitch to set up a profile. It's free to set up a profile. When you do that, I would probably try to get into the same category as Wati. It's conversational support software. I don't really understand. I mean, there isn't a category for WhatsApp, CRM or something, but
I believe they have set a profile up. I don't know whether you can check whether they can be found.
Yeah, I can search here for Stitch AI. There's a bunch of Stitches, but oh, here it is. Wait, sellers. Okay. Yeah, we've got it. So we just need to start getting reviews now. It hasn't been categorized. Well, no, WhatsApp. Apparently there's a category called WhatsApp marketing.
Well, that'd be nice if there is.
That sounds perfect. It's just a tick box, and I'm logged in with my account. I'm just going to tick it. I don't know if that sends the right confirmation that this is what I think it's, but
I presume it doesn't look particularly easy to create a review, does it?
well, I can certainly get things going with the first review.
Yeah.
There's a back-end system for this, which is let me see if I can quickly show you mine for.
Does it let you? I'm not familiar with G2, so does it let you just create a review with a? Do you have to have a Gmail profile, or do you actually have to create a G2 account? Or
yeah, you need a G2 account. Let me show you the back end of. I can't get in right now though. I'm a little bit stuck here. Give me a second.
And I also take it that, and if people are watching and they want a really good tip, if you're doing any sort of reviews, be that Trustpilot or Google Business Places or any of these type of review sites, if you can get your reviewers to talk about your product properly, so rather than just saying thanks, great job, you want them to say, I've used, in this instance, I've been using the Stitch AI tool for my WhatsApp messaging, tied it into my CRM system, and it's all been a great experience, right? So you're also mentioning what they do and how it works. So, and that applies across all industries.
Yeah. Well, Simon, I'm having a hard time getting into my G2 dashboard. I don't know why it's not working. Here's our page for GEO Forge. We did a big push for reviews and got it up to 12. It's a start, but we still need a whole lot more. The big dogs like Profound has over 1,000, and some of them have in the thousands. So it's a big
Yeah,
it's a big one.
good luck out reviewing SEMrush.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But at least having some reviews is going to be a signal for AI crawlers that this is an active. It's in the right category. Also, sending the right category signals is very important, because here it has us in. I don't know if this is the right category. AI search visibility optimization tools software. I guess so.
And the other thing that I also do 100% see is I've got some clients who we run their Google ads, and when we put reviews on their profile every week plus content, the ads perform better.
Interesting. Yeah.
Not that Google would ever admit that there is a correlation between paying for ads and putting content and reviews on, but it works.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think we probably should wrap up, but I did want to just to put this out there as we wrap up, that I think for any software product that's doing GEO, the reviews, G2 reviews especially, are extremely important. This is very authentic. And I think that a lot of these listicles that we've seen, we spent so much time looking at all these listicles. I think a lot of these listicles are actually scraping the top. They're scraping the G2 category places. So this is a canonical source, basically. It's the original source of a lot of syndicated content, and that syndication, that it has a natural amplification effect. So it's basically getting in here will by default get you in other places republished that you don't even have to try for.
Yeah, and I want to see genuinely over the next couple of 3 weeks, do we increase our share of voice based on the work we've started doing already? Then when we start layering in all these other things, what effect does that have? Because I don't really want to go, boom, there's everything, because we won't necessarily know exactly what moved the needle. Yeah.
I think that the approach now is the right approach, which is leaning most heavily on content. And let's start trying to produce, one good blog a day with the video embedded that I've seen. And then also the YouTube optimization. I think that's going to give us 1 degree of bump. And then the next layer would be the citations, the offsite citations. And let's see if the outreach, which admittedly has a low success rate, but if you can scale that with instantly, that would be awesome. Plus the G2 reviews that we just talked about. And then I think that's, really doing a lot more than probably most of their bigger competitors are doing right now. So hopefully they'll close the gap and leapfrog into the elite AI visibility stratosphere.
Yeah, no, very good session. So I think everyone, if they want to join us again, we'll be back on Friday, right?
Yes, we'll be back on Friday. So stay tuned, and we'll see you then, Simon. Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
All right. Okay.